Yeah, it's kind of like Odd Couple meets the Brady Bunch meets Tiny Bubbles. I don't know.
How are you then?
I don't know today. I don't,
Okay.
I don't know what today. It's been busy. I've been busy, which I know. God, I hate it when people say that. Like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm busy. Like, congratulations.
So you have a life. We get it.
Yeah, but there's a little too much life. I mean, that sounds terrible. I shouldn't. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean that. Like, you know what? It's just we can just dig it down a little bit. And it's not like there's anything bad happening. I mean, there's a lot of bad things. Bad things are always happening around us, right? But I mean, in my life, things are
directly to you. Everything's,
as far as I'm aware,
relatively okay.
You know, right? I'm not sure what's killing me today, but like other than that, I'm fine. But it's just a lot of stuff in motion, a lot of plates spinning, and
you could probably do with a little less spinning.
I could do with a little less spinning.
1 or 2 fewer plates, maybe.
Yeah, and I was mentioning this sort of to our friend in common, Colin Kendall, and he was like, you know, he did the brotherly, friendly, you know, there's only so much you can do, Jason. You gotta, you know, like, don't do this to yourself, kind of thing. And I'm like, I know.
Whereas I'm gonna say, no, screw you, do more things.
What's
wrong with you? Sitting around on your ass all the time.
You're doing it. Well, you know what? There are people in my life who have been in my life, and some who are still in my life-ish, who may not say that exactly, but they would
but
definitely think it. I've got a car that should be remarkably clean, considering how much money I spend to have this silly subscription to the car wash place.
Oh, you got one of the subscription car washes?
Yes, because you know why? Because my buddy Kenneth said, oh, he did it, and he gets his car washed all the time. And you know what? I used to do that too. I would go down and get the car washed. It was lovely. When I first moved here, my pants were so roomy. Actually, they weren't. But I mean, my time was roomy. Like, and I don't know what I did. Yes, I do. I actually do kind of know what I did. But I don't even have time to get my car. I don't even have time to have other people. No, not even other people. I don't even have time to let a robot wash my car.
Right.
That's how much I've compacted in. Like, I drive past this place on a regular basis.
And I look at my time to go in and let the robots clean things up.
On time.
That's weird. Lisa mentioned the subscription car wash thing at the donut thing the other day, and I have never heard of a car wash subscription until
I hadn't either until I moved
a couple
here.
of days ago, and now it's come up twice. It's bizarre.
So I had a conversation with a venture capitalist. Actually, he wasn't a venture capitalist. What is he technically? He's like a private equity fund manager dude person. Anyway, young guy who he's talking about his portfolio. One element of his portfolio is veterinary industry, which makes sense. Because that's why we're having a conversation. And I was asking about the other parts of his portfolio. One of like 4, I think it was like, so it was like healthcare, which was bifurcated between human and veterinary. Then there was I don't know, like a railroad or something. It was weird because that just makes me think of Monopoly. I don't know. Yeah. And then there was these car washes. Like, it's a big deal right now. It's a big thing. Getting like these places because they run so efficiently, even in terms of their use of water, because they reuse the water, or like a lot of it, that the cost of operating is super low. So and then they build them in these places, and they know exactly like how many, based on like the demographics of an area and how far it is to get to the next one, like how many cars they can churn through in a given month, and like it's a very predictable income. Yeah.
I guess I don't.
Especially if you're like me and you don't go.
Right. You got the subscription and you
It's
don't
like the
use
gym
it.
membership. It's like the car wash equivalent of a gym membership.
Well, that's kind of my point, is that I wash my car when it needs to be washed. When I look at it and I say, all right, that's getting to be, that's almost to the level of topsoil level of dirtiness on my car. It's now time to go get a car wash. I certainly don't do it like on a regular schedule, and certainly not enough that a subscription would make sense. That's washing your car a lot. I don't think there's going to be enough paint on my car left if I wash it as much as it seems like.
It's one of those
have to watch it.
I think if you go through twice in a month, it's just
Twice
as well.
in a month, though, man.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
You have a garage, number one.
Yeah.
That you use.
And I work from home.
Right, and you work from right. So you're basically going out like once every 2 weeks.
If that.
So, and you live practically downtown, so you can just.
Yeah. So maybe I'm not the target market, but
plus you live in Winter Garden, and this place is in the bowels of Windermere.
There's one down this. Well, I guess it's over on Colonial, and there's one. There's one
that
there.
One. Yeah, that one's no good.
Yeah, it's the closest one, so I go to that one.
Is it the same company?
So I have no clue.
Okay,
it's the car wash company.
Here's also where they get you. To set this up, and I don't know if the system's the same. I imagine it is. To set this up, you have to. So you pay for the subscription thing, and then you go through, and then when you're finished, you have to come back out and go into the little office to get your. You have to get your credit card registered, of course, for automatic billing, and then you have to get this little sticker that goes on your window, up in the upper corner where Jiffy Lube used to put the sticker if you went to Jiffy. Right.
Okay.
And then the machine reads that. It scans that when you come through and knows that, you have this subscription, okay? At some point, my credit card number changed because, one of the times where that gets reissued because they see something happening, right? And it stopped working. To fix it, I had to go back into the office again to re-register. I'm like, why am I having to do this? I know that to cancel this, I'm going to have to go in to the little office. And I know once I do that, and I'm going to be in that episode of Friends where Chandler's trying to get out of the gym membership. And he can't. I'm going to be in that moment.
Yeah.
And also, I have to take the time to do that.
Right. And you don't have enough time to actually use the service. You certainly don't have enough time
That's my point.
Go in and talk to people.
My gosh, Wendy, you got to wait. And then the past 2 or 3 times I've gone, so they've changed the system up since COVID. I don't know why. Maybe it's not COVID related. Maybe it's just stupidity. But they now have a human being standing at the little machine. There's 2 machines you go to, so you have that kind of stress already, where there's 2 dueling gate things, right? So you have 2 access points next side by side. So it's like the grocery store line where you're like, okay, which line is quicker? So then you start eyeing up the cars in front of you, which line should I get in based on the cars that they have? Is that a competent car or is it an incompetent car? I'm not so sure. So then you try to game that, right? But then you see somebody coming up behind you. You're like, I got to make a decision.
Now you get the pressure, yeah.
So then you get into a line. Okay, now I'm in line. And now there's a dude or dudette up there who is punching numbers for people instead of letting them, I guess maybe that's why it's...
What is that about?
I don't know. They have index fingers.
Public parking garages too, where they're hand me your card and then I'll put it in. I can do that.
What is this? What is
the
this?
The thing says put card in here. I've got the card there. The thing is, I am able to reach the thing.
Right.
Why are you doing this for me? I don't
understand this. So then, but here's my deal. I don't actually have to touch anything. When I pull up, all I have to do is let the machine read the little sticker.
Yeah.
It asks me if I want an upgrade. I hit no upgrade. Actually, if I do nothing, it just defaults to no upgrade. The receipt thing comes out. I sometimes, I'll take it and throw it away. And then the gate goes up and I go through.
Yeah.
I don't insert a credit card. I don't have to do anything else, right? But I still have to wait in the same line.
Mm-hmm.
And so invariably there's a person who wants to have a conversation because there's like, oh, we're going to try to sell him the subscription maybe, or he's not sure what upgrades he wants. He doesn't know whether his undercarriage needs washing or something. I don't know what's happening. But what I do know is that I'm in the wrong line and I'm watching these other people go. But there's other people can't actually go as fast as they could even go normally because they have to wait for the guy or the gal to come back over and punch the numbers in for them.
What is that?
And so all of this, and I'm doing this under pressure because I'm like, oh my God, I got to make this meeting. I got to be back to my office to get them this Zoom call. Why did I even and now I'm trapped. You can't back out.
Yeah. And you don't want to be that guy that gets on the Zoom call while you're in a car wash.
There's big signs that say, they don't say no Zoom call, but I wouldn't be surprised if they put one of those in. But it's like, no using your cell phone, no blah, 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 none of this.
Like, you know what? No using your cell. How about you bite me? I'm using my cell phone.
Once the suds are covering the car, they can't know anyway.
Yeah, and then why? Why can't you use the cell phone?
Because they want you to pay attention. For when you exit, you need to be ready to exit. Because they mean go, and they say exit. It's like
sure,
people
and
coming
you
up
want to do that because you're compelled to do that because the other car behind you is coming at you,
right.
And there's nothing you can do to stop that.
But they don't want you to be distracted.
But like if you're in the weird tricolored suds
I
section,
love that, by the way.
Yeah, and it smells good, and it's like it was blue, yellow, and a kind of a pink. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason you can't be using your cell phone there. That's ridiculous.
I don't know what to tell you. I just know that this time of year, my car needs extra washing. It's black and it's Florida, and and I don't park in the garage, and there's pollen, and those little love bugs are going to come back, and I need to get my car washed more regularly.
Yeah. I mean,
but the inside of my car, I need to clean the inside of my car, and that's like.
Well, you can't do that.
That's a supply side problem. I've noticed. Like, if you have the vacuum cleaners there, that's great. I can do that. That's fine.
Yeah, sure.
But what I really need is like the stuff to clean the dash and like the dust things that I don't just carry those around. Like.
Yeah.
I
used to carry the Windex wipes in my car. I found that those came in handy. Yeah.
If you could just put a little shopping cart together for me, Marcus, like
sure, no problem.
Marcus's list of items that you should have in your car.
I'll get
cleaning products.
I'll get you on a subscription.
That'd be great.
There you go. They'll come every month.
Do I have to come into the office to get my card or?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? It's like, and I guess in this case, it's one of those things a lot like the gym membership because they make it as hard as they possibly can so that you won't do it. You'll have a subscription that you're not going to use for years and you won't even think about it because what you have to do to go through to get that thing canceled just sucks.
Yeah.
But we've got like the company that monitors our alarm system or whatever. They're called like Technical Solutions or something like that. And they have no way of paying online. How in the world, in this day and age, in this economy,
what do they do?
They monitor the alarm system, right? So like if the alarm goes off, they call you and go, is everything okay? Or did it go off, did it go off accidentally? And you say, yeah, it did. And they're like, okay.
And do you have like a safe word, like a code word? Like if you're being held hostage, you say like,
I don't
bologna sandwiches. I'm having bologna sandwiches tomorrow for lunch.
Yeah, the
bologna. Lots of bologna. Did you get the bologna part? Bologna sandwiches.
Everything is fine. A-okay. You judging my tone here?
Baloney.
I'm trying to tell you that there isn't a guy with a gun to my head at all.
Then you hear Emily yell down the hall. It's Limburger this month. Limburger.
Oh, I mean it's not Limburger, right? Bad guy, but yeah.
No, you're.
So I'm not even entirely sure I remember what the words are at this point because we set it up when we moved in, and that was a year ago.
Yeah, and it's been safe.
Yeah, it's been
Other
fine.
Than when you try to burn the house down.
It's kind of like when you first get like a new number for your cell phone, and you'll never remember that because you don't use it. You don't call it. I haven't gotten a new number
for my cell phone since 2006. No, I'm sorry. 2008.
I don't know when I got mine.
When I got my iPhone, 2008. And I'm never changing it again.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I always feel like if I get too many of these spam calls, I'm just going to change my number.
You're just going to get someone else's old number. They're like, there aren't new numbers anymore. They just retire them when people die or something.
That's a lot of numbers.
And you just get their numbers. Have you noticed that?
I guess that's, yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't want that.
So what?
You don't want to be someone's residual.
10 digits, though. That's a lot of course, I guess not all of the area codes are in use.
Nope. They're just recycling numbers now.
Yeah. So you get some dead guy's number. That'd be weird.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Bob.
They'll find you anyway.
It's your 115th birthday, Bob. No, it's a new number guy.
And I can always tell when I've given my number to the wrong person, because then I'll start getting spammed by other things. I'm like, oh man, why did I do that? Oh, I thought they were safe.
Yeah.
Because some people I want, I have my not fake number. I have my Google Voice number that I give them to most people. But then sometimes I give my iPhone number because, well, it's just more direct communication. Like for somebody that I'd rather you be able to reach me a little more easily. Then I'll give them that number.
Now I'm wondering which one you gave me.
The world will never know. I'll give you a hint. One of them is based in Catalina, California. Catalina Islands, yeah. And one of them is based in Colorado Springs,
salad dressing Colorado. There, right?
Yeah, it's salad dressing. It's like, they're all salad dressings. One of them is Thousand Island, New York.
Hidden Valley. Well, that's in
Hidden Valley, Montana.
In Alaska, I think. No, it's a real place.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's where Hidden Valley Ranch comes from. Yeah.
Friends of ours live in Carnation, Washington, and I was joking once with them, like, do you eat a lot of Carnation instant breakfast here? And they're like, this is where it's from. I'm like, what? Sure enough.
Yeah. Wow.
Like it's the whole, they have like a Carnation.
Try to make
plant.
a joke, and you were actually seemed like you knew some stuff.
Yeah.
One of my very first work trips when I was working for the community college was to Sioux City, Iowa, for a training. And I was like, oh, hey, Sioux City, Iowa. I can get some of that Sioux City sarsaparilla that Sam Elliott talks about on Big Lebowski. Turns out that's made nowhere near Sioux City. It's from New Jersey, apparently. So
is there Sioux City, New Jersey, or no?
No, they just called it Sioux City to give it a kind of Western-sounding name. But it's nowhere near Sioux City. I was kind of disappointed. And it was just snowy the rest of the time. So I was in snowy Iowa with no sarsaparilla whatsoever. And that was a big disappointment, I'm afraid.
So I don't need to talk about the rest of my day. It was
just today, huh?
It was just today. There's just a lot of stuff. Mostly good stuff. But a lot of stuff. I started watching Resident Alien, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you digging it, huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you the first time. Because I recognize
that's what everybody says about any advice I give them ever.
Well, sometimes you just don't hear about it.
Well.
I think it was back in February. It was February 4th. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because I noticed you replied to the original.
I did. Well, you know why I did that? Because I replied to your initial message right here.
Right. Yeah. It was like, I don't remember saying that because I remember the second time I brought it up was when we were at dinner the other night.
Right. And I wanted to give you props.
I appreciate
because
that.
I felt like that's the right thing to do. That I wanted to make note that you had previously told me this, and I was responding to that. There you go. And it's good.
It took me like ages to get my sister onto The Mandalorian, and when she finally watched it, she was like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever!" I was like, "Yeah, I've only been trying to tell you that for ages." And I'm on her again about Hamilton, and she hasn't watched it yet. Yeah.
Like the musical Hamilton?
Yeah. No, the guy, Alexander Hamilton. I was like, this is a really cool guy. You need to read up on this guy. And no, the musical. And yeah, are you not a Hamilton guy?
I can't make it through it.
You really can't.
Yeah, I can't. Musicals
I don't want
are
to be one of
difficult
those
for
guys
me.
like, oh my god, because people don't like things.
Musicals
It's
are
cool.
no. I'm not saying. Look, I'm sure the problem is me, not the not. I mean, it's not everybody else in the world is
Yeah,
wrong.
there's single-celled organisms out there with a T-shirt from Hamilton. So
I mean, I'm just saying that I have difficulty following it.
I understand.
I find the pacing is real fast for my slow brain, and I find that rap in general is difficult for me to understand. And I just can't take it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's bad. I mean,
doing it with the closed captions on.
I have. Yeah, the second time through. My second attempt through was with captions on.
There are some times when even that's not going to help you because, like, Daveed Diggs, the guy that plays both Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson, is able to rap at about 7 million miles an hour. And I will say that that's kind of been its thing, is that it's a rap musical, but it's really not. There's a lot of conventional singing, and even in the rap bits, there's some singing and some fantastic choreography. And I can't say enough about it. And I was one of those guys that didn't, and it wasn't sort of like everybody likes it, so I'm not going to watch it. It wasn't that. It was just I haven't gotten around to Hamilton, and it was out for like 2-3 years before I finally listened to the soundtrack. And I was kind of like you, right? Because I wasn't seeing it, and I was just listening to the music, and so keeping who was who together was really difficult when you're just listening to the music. But once I saw it on the Disney Plus, I was like, okay, this is because I was like, I kind of dig this music up to the point where I actually saw the thing. And then I was like, okay, this is one of the greatest musicals that there has ever been. And so now I'm like a ridiculous and quite annoying fan of the musical now. But yeah, and I'm trying to indoctrinate my sister. And she's as much of a theater person as I am. So, she really has no excuse at this point. You hear me, Jesse? You hear me talking to you?
Is she going to listen to this?
Yeah,
be strong.
She's a fan.
Be strong.
Well, she was a fan anyway.
I just the other thing is I don't think I like musicals performed on stage. I'm saying this tentatively.
Where would you prefer them performed?
I'm saying this tentatively because I'm trying to go through like the catalog of musicals that I've seen.
I like them in the mall.
No, I like them when they're made into movies.
Oh, I see. So like the Les Mis with Hugh Jackman and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I even like the hokey ones, like the ones that are practically a stage performance, but
right.
There's just
what is it about the?
I don't know.
Is it the staging?
I like
is
plays.
it the sort of the conceit?
I love plays, like just plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that. I love that. It's when they start singing, I just want to go to sleep.
Now, is that a problem with the singing, or is that the staging? That sounds more like you just kind of don't like musicals.
But why do I like them? I like watching movies that were based on musicals. Like I don't.
No.
I don't know either.
That's very interesting.
I know it's a problem.
Have you been to many actual musicals?
No, I don't think so. I think because I mean, other than like high school and stuff, I am not really drawn to them. But I've been to a few. I've been to a few, but I don't seek them out like on Broadway or anything like that. And I'm sure if I did see it in a big production kind of, I am a Lion King. I'm a Festival of the Lion King person, and not a
not a Lion King on Broadway person.
No, a lot of fun. Like in Animal Kingdom, there's the people who love Festival of the Lion King, and then there's the people who are
Finding Nemo.
Yeah. And I'm much more of a Festival of the Lion King person.
I also am a Festival of the Lion King guy between those two things. Now, I do like the Finding Nemo musical, of course. But,
I just want to go to sleep. I just want it's air conditioned. That feels lovely. And it's dark. And you feel like you're kind of underwater. And it's like, and like now I'm really calm. I just want to sleep.
I don't think there is a more comforting, sleep-inducing theater on property than the Finding Nemo music. A lot of people will be like, "No, it's American Adventure," or it's Hall of Presidents, or Carousel of Progress. A lot of people conk out in Carousel of Progress, but the Finding Nemo is because I think mainly because there's always, or at least when it's operating, there's always a line for it, and the line is outside, and I associate going to it at all with the summertime. So it's very hot out there, and you're in the Animal Kingdom, which is pretty much one of the hotter parks because so much of it is outside, right?
I think it's a perception thing, but
when it could very well be, but that's perception's reality when it comes to this kind of thing. And you get into this dark, and the ceilings are real high, and there's they go off into blackness. And it's very much, I mean, it's house.
Like sleeping in a meadow, an undersea meadow.
The house for this musical is the one that's closest to an actual place that you would see a real musical in. You know what I mean? And so it's got the really high and black ceilings where like all the electrics and stuff are. There they put the lights, and the seats are really comfortable. And since the ceilings are so high, it's also kind of quieter in there than it is in like any of these other places. I don't know. There's something about it that's
you just describing it to me makes me want to take a nap.
Right. See,
like I'm just picturing myself.
So I get that
in the space. I'm like, oh my god, I just want to sleep. So I don't.
Some kind of touring company, as soon as Broadway comes back, after COVID,
I can go to
as soon
symphonies.
as some touring company comes through here, we're going to something.
I go to symphonies and I love them. No, I'll never get tired. In a symphony, yeah. Michelle, doesn't last 30 seconds in a symphony.
Yeah, I don't know that I would. Well, it depends on the music.
No, it doesn't matter. I love it. I just love it.
Well, see, it does matter.
But then I'm trying to hear each instrument. Sometimes you try to like find one to follow, see if you can follow that one.
Like the one guy with the viola.
Yeah. No, is that weird?
It's Bob.
I'm like,
I know that guy.
You can pick out the
no, that's not weird.
We went to see George Winston.
Oh yeah,
at the
like him.
I think at the it's in Baltimore. We were in college. And it was at the Lyric Opera House. I think we had those seats that are, I don't know, they were like cheap because we had like student tickets at the time, but they were like that. What do they call that? Is it like the dress circle or the balcony? I know it's up in the balcony, but it's like the balcony. It's like but it's a seat. It's like the dress. It's like this. It's like the seat that's in this like little balcony, like their own little balcony, like private balcony kind of things, but like off to the side, to the front, but like we're almost like overlooking the stage. We actually are
so like a box.
Yeah, it's kind of like a box, but it's like it was cheap though.
Yeah, I mean, we always think about box seats being, high class, but a lot
of the location
really
of it, you don't really get the perspective, right? So,
so you have to kind of lean over to see this.
Yes, literally. So where we were was like just almost literally above George Winston's piano, like where he was sitting. And so, I mean, if I had drooled, I could have drooled into this piano. So, and what was so amazing is that he does this really neat stuff where he will, depending on what sound he's trying to get while he's playing, he'll like reach in and grab the string.
Oh,
and dampen it, I guess, and do all this cool stuff. It's like, I mean, his music is very relaxing, and emotional, but to watch him doing it was really a performance in and of itself. It's
I'm sure.
Right. And we're right there, man. We're like practically like part of the show because we're right there. Everybody's looking at us, looking at him. Michelle was out like in 6 minutes, gone, like the whole thing. I missed the whole thing. I'm like, look, it's like grabbing strings and doing the thing. It's like gone. I mean, I don't know how she does it. It's like a superpower. To be like fall asleep, like.
Yeah, that's a skill I've admired in other people. My grandfather
they get on airplanes, they're like gone, like. Oh.
My grandfather would be in like Korea. He would have all of his people set up, and there's about to be an attack, And he's a a master sergeant or whatever. He's got everybody set up, and he's everybody ready for the attack. The attack's coming in 40 minutes. We're gonna go in 40 minutes. Everybody is blood, death, and violence and gore. Ready? All right, great. I'm gonna take a nap real quick. And he would lay up against a tree and just. It's because everybody was ready, and he had 30 minutes before he had to be doing anything else. He could take a nap doing that. I have never been able to do that.
I'd be so anxious about being groggy when I awake that I wouldn't be able to take a nap.
Right. But as soon as he's up, he's back doing it. I saw one time he was at our house. He was untangling a big thing of Christmas lights. He was there for Thanksgiving, and we were decorating Christmas afterwards. And he's untangling a big thing of Christmas lights because he loved doing that kind of stuff. That sort of problem solving. If you gave him a big wad of like rope that was in an impossible knot, he would love sitting down and figuring it out, right? And so he's doing that, and then he just goes, and just goes to sleep. And then in about 15 minutes, he's like, and he's back doing the thing. It's just like, I was a little too sleepy to do this task. I recharged for 15 minutes. Now I'm good.
Back up.
I'm picking right up right where I left off.
They call that a Gordian knot.
Is that Gordian?
Yeah.
Gordian knot?
Isn't that what it's called?
Is that what Weird Al Yankovic plays? Gordian?
Not an accordion knot. A Gordian knot.
Accordion. Those are the French people that lived in Canada, right? And they... As Acadians.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they went to Louisiana and became known as the Cajuns because it's...
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway.
Here we go.
Hey, speaking of Acadians and Cajuns and whatnot...
Yeah, I was getting ready to bring it up.
I'm gonna do it before you even reference the pen.
Good.
And I don't know. It almost seems cliche at this point because this is something I kind of routinely go off on.
Yeah, I'm wondering how far your foot can actually get inserted into your mouth. So let's.
I don't know
see.
that it's. I think I'm on the side of right on this one.
Oh.
And
okay.
But we were at the Enzo's Hideaway the other night, and we got to talking about this, and I can't even remember what prompted this.
Did we talk about this?
Well, it was something, and I started to talk about it, and you were like, no, don't.
Oh, that was it, right?
Let's wait for the show.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
So my problem is, okay, the people from Berlin, they refer to their country as Deutschland. Even the people from Vienna refer to that country as Deutschland. Why do we call it Germany when it's not what they call it? Why do we have our own name for that?
So if I asked, you're saying because I've known German people in my life, like people off the boat from Germany. If I asked them where are you from, they're going to tell me Deutschland?
Well, they'll probably say Germany because they know that's what you call it and you've learned to call it.
Well, how would they know that, like right off the bat?
Because they know that's what English people call their country, but they don't call it that. They call it Deutschland. So why aren't we calling it what they call it? Because aren't they the ones that should have the authority over what their country is called?
Well,
now,
yeah,
I mean, like with the United States, that's like a phrase, right? It's so like when someone from Mexico, let's say, refers to us as Los Estados Unidos, that makes sense because it's a description really more than a proper name.
Yeah.
But they also refer to Canada as Canada. And so, because that's the name of the place. Now they have pronunciation rules with regards to the A letter, and so it's Canada, not Canada. But it's still the name of the country. And I understand that Germany comes from the Roman times, Germania and all of that stuff. But even then it was Germania and not Germany. So why are we calling it Germany? It just seems very sort of, I don't know, Anglo-centric to decide that, you know what, you're Germany.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are explanations.
Deutschland.
There are explanations on the
Germany.
internet for these things. And even Wikipedia has an entry about names of Germany and why do we say, and there's another article, why do we say Germany and not Deutschland. But what I'm
We
getting
do
from
it with a lot of junk. I'm not hitting just on Germany here. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying, like, I mean, just for
the city's name is Napoli. It is not Naples.
To be devil's advocate a bit, or would I be the German advocate? I'm not sure. Internally, yes, Germans use Deutschland for.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
However, Germany was called Germany by, like, even internally for a long time.
Okay. But that ain't what it's called now.
Well, I realize that.
We don't call Turkey the Ottoman Empire or whatever.
We don't. I mean, they can't expect the world to keep shifting based on like the whims of their internal desires.
They can, but we can't.
I mean, they lost the war.
We can't be
for
bothered to
sake.
learn a new name for
I'm
you
sure
guys.
we'd be calling it Deutschland if they had won.
I'm the guy with the foot in my mouth.
I mean, I don't know. To the victor goes the dictionary. I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
right, so give me another example. What is it, like Naples? You're saying?
Yeah, almost every Italian.
Naples, Florida. You're saying?
Well, there's Naples, Florida. That can be called Naples, I guess. But in Italy, it's called Napoli, but we still call it Naples, Italy. And then we call it Italy, and it's Italia. But and the thing that really kind of got me thinking about that is the next day, the very next day after our dinner, we were in Animal Kingdom and we were riding Flight of Passage, and they were going, and this is we're going to ride the Avatar or whatever, the Pandoran animal of the Nikron that we call the Banshee. Why are we calling it the Banshee? We can say Nikron. Why did goofy Anglican people decide they needed their own name for that? World. I know this isn't, but it's totally what we do. I mean, it works because that's the kind of crap we would do. Oh, you call it what? No, that doesn't work for us. No. That's called a chocolate chip cookie. Screw you and your Nikron. We're going to name it something else. It's just kind of annoying to me. And I know I call it Germany too, but I mean, it's, when you really think about it, it's kind of like, why are we just like Japan? That's not Japan. It's Nihon. And why? Why are we calling it Japan?
Why do we call it Japan?
I don't know. I'm sure that you're about to Google that.
I'm Googling Japan. Why do you exist? The Japan versus Nihon?
Nihon, Nihon. Or Nippon is sort of the more familiar.
The Japanese name for Japan can be pronounced either Nihon or Nippon. Both.
Nippon.
Both readings come from the onyomi. Onyomi. So, some records say that the Japanese envoy to China requested to change the name because he disliked it. Other records say that the Chinese Empress Wu Zetian ordered Japan to change its name. Either way, Wokoku became Nihon. Oh, this is when it was Wokoku, not Japan. That doesn't really help me. Wokoku's kind of cool too, although it sounds Hawaiian. Wokoku. Sounds like something Gilligan would have named the island, like
Wokoku Island.
Wokoku Island.
That may have been what it was. There was a Japanese version of Gilligan, and he was, hey, we'll call it Wokoku.
I don't know what the answer is, my friend.
And this, that's all right. You don't have to answer.
I'm trying to defend
this.
I'm trying to play the defender of the.
It's of the status quo. Jason Knapp, defender of the status quo.
I don't know.
But yeah, and it's just, and there's another weird kind of thing too.
Oh, it's because of because like this Nippon, and then there was like Jipan.
Jipan,
yeah, that's.
But it's still not the name of the place. I mean,
I know. I know, but why do they do that? Why do they give in? Why do they do that? Why do they let us do that?
I don't know.
Why does Google Maps say Japan?
I don't know,
because that's confusing, right? Like,
And I always wonder, what do Japanese people think of that? I mean, surely they just kind of accept it because I'm sure
Japan right there, and there's Sea of Japan.
Okay, they call us Japan. We're Japanese people to them. We are Nihonjin to us. That's just a matter of language, and I'm sure that's fine. But it's just kind of like,
well, what's interesting?
Two are so different,
If you look at if you go to the Soviet, I almost said the Soviet Union. If you go to Russia, and you look at the names of their cities on Google Maps,
mm-hmm.
I can't even pronounce the English version of the Cyrillic spelling, which I assume is what that is. It's like a phonetic spelling, maybe.
Yeah, and that comes with its own kind of special fun times, because I don't know who comes up with some of these sort of English versions of foreign words, but where they will use, how did you come up with using that English letter to mean that sound when that's not the sound that English letter makes? Because Chinese towns, or words really that have a QI that is pronounced chi, which is bizarre because CHI is chi. And, it's not a Chinese thing because it's a Western letter. The Chinese have their own writing, as you might have noticed.
But they did. There was that period of time, there's that 3-4 decade period, 3 decade period where they were. There was a great controversy over this too, in terms of adapting, the Western keyboard to the language, and then there was a big push because they thought it was going to be inefficient. It was almost impossible. How do you type in that? And then they created that. I forget what the keyboard was called. It was invented by that guy who it was a crazy, amazingly elegant, but just it was elegant but complicated at the same time in terms of making this alphabet that could. I think they boiled it down over time, literally years and years and years.
Yeah, there is
years
a simplified
to get it down to a couple hundred maybe different
that would be
keys.
Impressive.
And the
so
keyboard
keys,
contraption was you had to control multiple things with one. Anyway,
that would be rough. Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, at least with Japanese, if you have to, you can just restrict yourself to hiragana and katakana. You don't have to do any kanji if you don't.
Well, this was was getting it all down to that, right?
But with Chinese, it's all what the Japanese would refer to as kanji. I don't know what the name of it is.
The symbols,
Japanese. Right? The ideographic characters. Because hiragana and katakana are
all symbols,
phonetic, and so they just represent sounds, right?
Right.
So that's easy to do. But once you get into kanji, and there's 8,000 of them or whatever, and they all have different meanings, and it's really neat when you start learning some of them, because it's these two can sound exactly alike, but it's the kanji itself that tells you what meaning it's having. I having to come up with some kind of a type or a keyboard that would be able to handle that.
That was the thing. How do we preserve this culturally important element of our people, and also compete economically and so forth, and share information.
So they started using Roman letters, and I guess at some point they decided that Q was going to equate to CH, but I don't understand that.
I don't know either, but I think it's interesting.
And X is like SH or something.
I don't know how to feel about this, frankly, because I don't want to change. That's for sure.
You don't want to start saying Deutschland?
Look, I question myself all the time as it is. Am I saying the right thing? Am I saying it correctly? Did I just say the wrong thing? Am I an idiot? Don't answer that. And to to like have to relearn all that. Like, you want me to call it Espanol now?
Well,
but it says Spain on my map. All these years, it's saying it says Spain.
Yeah, but you know it's called España. It's easy.
No, but like.
No, we don't have the inya in our language, well, not in our language either, but in our alphabet. You know, a little tilde over the N.
My grandfather, who was the magician, he was in Amsterdam performing. Was like there for some magician's convention or something, and he was on this tour of Amsterdam, and I guess at the outset, the tour guide, who of course spoke many languages, asked, you know, what languages people spoke so they could translate as they were giving the tour, of course. So they go around and, you know, I'm sure it was Deutschland and
Deutsch, English,
and Espanol, right? And they get to, and then my grandfather has his hand up and he says American.
Yeah, that's.
Like,
I think that's a legitimate response.
I think we got that covered on the English part. But I know Claire, if she's listening, it's like, oh no, it's very different.
No, I think it was. Who was it? Said that England and America are two countries that are separated by a common language. I can't, you know, I'm going to offend everybody in the United Kingdom if I even try to come up with that, because I have an equal influence from both sides of Winston Churchill and Oscar Wilde, and those two do not coexist very well. So I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say that it was Stephen Fry, and we're just going to leave it at that.
Well, there you go. Is there anything else you want to talk about as it relates to
international languages and
the way we're pronouncing Casablanca incorrectly?
I think Casablanca is about right.
How do you know, though? Because the way I look at here, it sounds like it's just in Arabic.
I don't know who named it that. That's a good question.
I don't know how Casablanca is actually pronounced in Arabic. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what we're going to do.
Here's the thing. I don't know that it is. I mean, Casablanca, I mean, as all of our Spanish-speaking friends know, that's White House, right? I mean,
I am going to go to Google Translate right now.
So I don't know that was a Moroccan word.
Well, Rabat. It doesn't matter. I want to know how they pronounce it how do they pronounce it in Arabic? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they speak?
Do they? I don't know that they. Do they?
It's possible. Okay, you look that up. I'll do this part. And we'll meet in the middle somewhere. Actually, Google will know if I put in Morocco as a language and it says, do you mean Arabic? Yeah, see, it doesn't even come up. No, I feel like you were just punking me.
No, it is Arabic. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So,
I don't want to assume, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. Now you have me questioning myself. Like, I knew this. But no, forever. All right, so English to Arabic, and then I'm going to put in Casablanca. Okay. And there's the Arabic symbols. I don't know, like the script. I don't know how to.
I'm going to be very surprised if Casablanca is an Arabic word.
And I'm going to hear it. Hold on. And you can't hear it because the volume's way down. But
that's all right. You can perform what she says.
Can I? Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Well, there you have that.
What?
I don't know.
A double Bazar? I like mine single. And that's Casablanca?
Yeah. Yeah, that looks the same too. When you look at the map, it's the same. It's the same thing, dude. Why do we say Casablanca? Because we don't know how to say this. No idea. It's like somebody saying John is dead backward. Like, I have no idea, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but
Paul is dead.
Paul's whatever. I can't say these words. It would be embarrassing.
I mean, you can.
But why Casablanca so far off? It's not even like close.
True.
Like Adar, Abaya. I could get there. Maybe like we'll just call it Aldor.
Well, see that shows that that's not even Like I still am just insanely curious as to why it's Casablanca. Like who named it that?
But what did the people there say?
Apparently a Doyle Blazar or whatever.
Right. So if I'm there and I'm like, hey, which way to Casablanca? They'll be like,
yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Though we're the dominant culture or whatever, and so they're like, all right, this guy's. What
you know what that means?
Is
you know what? Okay, so Aldar Albayeda or whatever, however she said it.
Does it mean White
in
House?
a beautiful way. It means White House.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Does it?
How did it get a Spanish name? I mean, for the longest time they were.
So Casablanca, what is so?
Well, it's Spanish for White House, right? I don't know. It's not French, because I would think that didn't France occupy them for a while?
Dude, now I have
French
to go
Morocco.
watch the movie
That's what it used to be called. I mean, I've seen the movie Casablanca, and there's French dudes running around in that.
I don't watch it.
Oh God, did you?
I don't think I ever watched it.
That's I don't believe I'd have told that, Clancy.
I don't think I ever saw that. Did you see that?
I did, like in the 70s or early 80s or whenever it came out, like immediately once it came on TV. I think at some point I watched it there. I certainly did not see it in the theater because I was a kid at the time. But I remember as much as I would any other adult movie that I would see, like not adult movie, but movie that is geared towards adults and not kids at that time. So I just remember that there are some people in it that are in other movies that my parents liked, but that's about all I remember of it.
Didn't I mean the Moors controlled that part of Morocco for a while, right? And then that's probably where the Spanish,
I guess, yeah.
I don't.
Moorish.
God, it's so embarrassing how little I remember.
Yeah, I seriously need to bone up on the world history.
I mean,
now that I'm at an age where I care.
But then you don't. Well, that's the thing. You have to go back. You have to go back, and then you realize, like, the more you scratch at it, you're like, oh man, I really didn't know anything. Like I thought, I suspected that I didn't know much about this, and then I learned a little bit, and then I felt a little confident, right? And then you start to learn a little more, and you're like, oh, no, whoa. Yeah. I had no idea. And then you start to learn it a little more, and you're like, oh boy, remember when I used to think that I knew something? Like, and then you realize at some point that I can't ever possibly know everything there is to know about this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of a depressing thought.
Down to this tiny stretch of it's like driving across the United States, right? And never leaving the interstate area. Even if you do, like, kind of go off the beaten path a little bit to see some, you still, when you zoom way out from it, you realize I just drove on this tiny slither across. Like, I have really seen nothing.
You practically can't see it on the map at that zoom level.
I've crisscrossed the United States multiple times, but like, the reality is that I've seen nothing. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what's crazy. So, and knowledge is the same way. That there's so much to learn about just everything.
There really is.
That I become a little depressed. Just like recognizing how ignorant I am.
Yeah. And how I can't get to the level I want to be at. There's no road from here to there.
But I don't know if you're like this though. Do you, like, the more you learn about something, do you begin to then question your grasp of that knowledge you have or had? Like, are you
over the same subject or on like other subjects?
Like, so I mean, I'll apply this to Disney related things. Okay. I can remember 10, 15 years ago, I mean, I thought I knew everything. Right. Right. And then you learn how much you don't know. And then you're like, and then the deeper you go, like, I know objectively, I know more than most people. Yeah. Maybe not who are listening to this currently, but just general population.
In a general, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You do good at the bar trivia.
But because I swim in this pond of people who know so much more than me,
right,
it makes me actually feel like I know nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which then makes me question
the things that you do know.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I totally. Yeah, I see what you mean. Mm-hmm. And it's like do the things that I know, does that even really matter in the grand scheme? Like, is this consequential in any way? The amount of knowledge that I have, which, and is it even valid? Who knows?
Right. I think you can learn your way into becoming an idiot.
Yeah. Well, that's the definition of sophomore, isn't it? A wise fool.
Well, I think that. Yeah, that's.
No, I mean, like, not practically, but like the word itself means.
No, I know, but I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about myself. Or as the old folks say, just enough to be dangerous.
Mm-hmm. 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 Do you ever get that feeling? When you're dealing with. That's not fair. When you're working with, engaging with people who are younger, well, like significantly younger than
you're enduring people.
Do you? I remember my old boss telling me once, or commenting when I didn't take his word for something. He was like, you young people have to figure it all out for yourselves. I remember him saying that to me, mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, yeah. And now I feel that way myself a little bit sometimes, but not so much like, it's more that I listen and I take it in and I think to myself, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
I mean, you actually may know what you're talking about. You don't realize why you know what you're talking about. Like, you haven't had enough life experience.
There it is.
To recognize how true what you're saying is. Like, you just have gumption.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there's no possible way you have figured out what you think you have figured out in the number of years you've been on this earth. And it's not a matter of
somebody told you that.
Well, no, I mean, I think people do have like transformative life experiences and stuff that do convey wisdom. And certainly, there's learning that people can engage in that also allows them to reach conclusions that are more accurate and sort of speedily, right?
Like beyond their years.
Yeah, I certainly have, and I think there's just I think there's some people who are just better grounded and more perceptive and able to connect dots and so forth, right?
Sure,
and more introspective, whatever, right? However, there's something that's like cute. I mean, that sounds terrible. It's like that. You're like, aw, like. I think they've got it figured out. It's not reductive at all.
Like, how adorable.
And it's so sad to watch because you're like, oh man, I know what's coming. Like, I don't know specifically what's coming. I know like this stuff comes down. Like, and you're like, oh. And this feels so like condescending to like even just, I mean, saying it makes it is even like terrible. It's like dripping with condescension, but like it like but like even thinking it feels that way. But I think there's that there's truth to it though. I think there's something to be said for like just putting in the years.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
To try
and
that's kind of
the trappings of progress, right? Isn't it? If they have attained a level of wisdom that usually like took our generation, 40 years, and they've attained it at 30 or at 25, then they have the potential to go further by where we are now. When they get to where we are,
absolutely,
they will hopefully have progressed even beyond that. And that's kind of the point. And that's what's always kind of like annoyed me about the whole I need to find out for myself. Like that's going backwards, right? It's like I'm trying to teach you this life lesson that I learned by myself.
The stove is hot. Just trust me.
Right. Take my word for it and make, so you don't make mistakes that I made and then you're getting nowhere, right? You're not progressing at all. Take my word for this and then make all kinds of crazy new mistakes that I didn't know enough to make. And then that's your life experience. And then you'll have yours. And then you can pass on to your kids or whoever the thing. And you'll be like, don't lick the internet terminal or whatever, something I couldn't have learned when I was a kid. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something technological, and that's as best as I could come up with.
Don't lick the 9-volt battery. Do lick the 9-volt battery. Everybody should have that experience. Yeah. Do you still do that? Do you test a battery out? By
licking it? No, I do not.
I think this is the weirdest thing. I just saying it, thinking about it, I just got the sensation on my tongue.
You can feel it.
How weird is that? Why?
You guys taste it like sort of a coppery.
I can
sort of
feel it and taste it. Like it's happening right now as I'm.
Sense memory, my friend.
Dude,
you got the trappings of an actor.
That's weird. That's weird. Like I can taste it. I feel it. You can feel it because it's like a tingly taste too. And it's also this. I can feel I can feel this. The little space between it. Like I can feel.
And how the one side kind of bites a little bit, just a little bit, because it's got the sort of seams.
Oh, it's still happening. It's like, give me a battery.
Sounds like you already have one. I think you need to quick lick something neutral.
Maybe I did it too much.
Discharge your tongue.
My water here. Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. You hope that the generations advance by building on top of one another.
Yeah.
Not having to
exactly.
experience everything. And I don't think it's that younger generations dispense with that.
I think we don't trust it sometimes.
That's it. That's exactly, because I know that's how my feeling was about things. Like, well, I think I just need to experience this for myself.
Yeah. It's like, we're not lying to you. I mean, what will we get out of that?
Maybe you were just wrong.
Don't go in there, you fall down. He's totally going to go in there. Bah! I told you.
Yeah. So to bring it back to your weird point about
what we call stuff.
About what foreign people. I don't know. You didn't say it like that. You said. How did you said it in a nice way?
Danged foreigners.
That's not how you said it.
Well, I don't know. It's like, how we
English versions of
Anglicanize.
foreign names and words.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that was the pin.
I don't know, but it's like I'm not. I don't think I mean, we can't switch.
Well,
they're stopping. I mean, that's like having us learn metric now. It's not going to happen.
Well, I maintain that metric has its place in science, but I think in the colloquial lifestyle of you and I, we're fine with Fahrenheit because that makes more sense with the weather.
So
0 to 100, really cold to really hot. If you go 0 to 100 in Celsius, you have extremely cold and dead. And if you do 0 to 100 in Kelvin, you go dead to dead. So Fahrenheit actually works better for that.
Well, also, like, I understand, like, I know what it feels like. If you tell me it's 65 degrees outside, I know what that feels like. If you tell me, I mean, like,
because you got that instinctive 100-point grading curve or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you objectively that I think once you get below, frankly, once you get below like 20 degrees, it's all just
awful.
I mean, splitting hairs at that point. I mean,
yeah, granted, I'll give you that. But
just like I think once you get above like 90, 95 degrees, it really, I mean, hundreds, yes, it's warmer than 90, but it's like, it's still hot.
I don't know,
and
man.
105 is just hotter. I mean, it's not like, and I've been in the desert and it's 115 or 120 degrees.
I lived in Scottsdale.
And I'm
120 sucks.
So you feel that and you're like, I don't think this feels that much worse than 95. Like, I know, like, it's hot. I get it, but like.
Well, I'll tell you the weird thing out there is that with the humidity in the air being more or less zero, the difference between shade and sunlight is like 30 degrees.
Oh, I bet.
It's nuts. Yeah. It is nuts. If the sun is hitting you, that's the heat. But like 100, you got 120 degrees. That's absolutely insane out there. Like planes couldn't take off. And it was like, for reasons that are like the air, physics. Yeah, the air won't hold up a plane at
it's not dense enough.
Temperature.
Right.
That's crazy.
I remember when I was learning to fly, there were the days where you knew it was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Because like just kind of, it's not cold, but it's like kind of crisp. You know, like in the 50s.
Yeah.
No humidity, which means it's gonna be smooth. You're not going to hit a lot of thermals and stuff that bounce you around, and you're going to get tons of lift because it's just nice and cool. Like, oh, best.
You'll be throwing around all these pilot
And then
terms.
Maryland, the summer comes and it's like hot and humid. You're like, you might as well be driving a garbage truck. It's like terrible, horrible. It's the worst place to learn how to fly a plane.
So this is the first I've heard of you being or at least attempted pilot. Or did you?
I never got my license. No, I never got my license. Because here's the deal. I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Well, hey, who didn't? But
I know, but I sat for that's when the senior year of high school. I sat for the ASFAB.
ASFAB, yeah,
and did really well on it.
Cool.
And had like after that, of course, had like all the branches of the military knocking on my door saying, "Hey, hey." And this Marine Corps recruiter said to me, he's like, "Look, like based on your scores, and based on like here's our ROTC program, blah 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 blah, like you will have you should have no problem basically doing anything you want, including flying, assuming you can pass like all the physical stuff, right? Aptitude wise, there's no reason why you can't go through officer training school and then flight school and blah blah blah. And in the Marines, you only fly fighters.
Yeah,
there's always a chance you go to the Navy or the Air Force. There's always a chance that you can go to flight school, but they put you on a cargo plane or something, and you're or fly AWACS or something, or refueling tankers or whatever. But the Marines, it's all fighters.
We got F-18s.
Yeah. And Harriers and things. So
and Ospreys, those weird things.
So I was interested. That's what I wanted to do. I had the Marine guy come to my house, freaked my mother out. He sat in the kitchen and is like in his.
He's in dress blues, wasn't he?
Oh my God! No, it
like
wasn't
the khaki
dressed.
shirt,
He was in
but it was
khakis.
the blue
He
pants.
was in the khakis. Yeah. And after that,
they do have the best uniforms out there.
Yeah, and the very serious haircuts and mannerisms. And I was like, I'm ready.
Yeah, not a lot of wackiness with those guys.
I'm ready. And my father, I remember him saying, like, how about this? How about you, like, get your pilot's license, your civil aviation license, and I'll help pay for it. I was 17 at the time. I was like, I'll help pay for it. And then like make sure you really want to fly before you like commit to this. I was like, okay. And it was like, and I was like, yeah. I mean, he's like, because you can always join. You don't have to like sign up now.
Right. Yeah.
You can always you don't have to sign up for ROTC from the beginning. You can go to you can like even go to college and not do ROTC. You can go into officer training school after you graduate and whatever. It's like make sure this is what you really want to do. Okay. So that's when I started learning to fly. My senior year of high school. I did all the, like the crazy stuff my senior, like that's when I had my motorcycle my senior year of high school, and I was like flying planes, and so I started doing stuff. I was did an internship in the state government that year. It was like a lot of, and I was taking college. I was like crazy. I was like,
I'm having a
this
hard time
enigma.
picturing you on a motorcycle.
It was like this, and I think that's the thing. Like, I was this enigma. People were like, "What the heck is with this guy?" He, like, because I wasn't like this popular. I wasn't like this popular
17.
cool kid kind of. I mean, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, It was weird. So, started flying. Got up to the solo point of like you go for your solo, so that you have to get so many hours in and do certain things, and then you get to this point where you can. I think it's after you get 30 hours or more, you can do what they call a solo, which is you get to fly the plane on your own, and then you have to get a certain number of hours doing that before you can do like your cross country, which is the last thing you do before you can like test for your license. And there's a written test, and then there's the flying test. Okay, so get all my hours in before I solo. I have to go get my physical before I can solo. And there's like an FAA doctor who comes to like this airport. I was at Martin State Airport in Baltimore, which is a really cool airport because it's a joint. It's one of the few joint airports where it's half of it's private, like one side's private and the other side's military.
Oh, okay.
It's the Air National Guard on the other side. And so you have this giant runway because they're flying.
Big old things.
Yeah. I mean, they fly A-10 Warthogs out of there and C-130s. So they're flying out there. And here's I'm a little two-seater Cessna sitting on this runway that's like 5,000 foot runway, or maybe it's 3,500 foot runway. Anyway, it's like a big runway. So I go to get my physical. Everything's fine, except my one eye was 20/25. And my other eye was 20/28 or 20/30. So I need glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't need glasses. I could see fine. But to pass to get your aviation license, you need to have 20/20 corrected vision. Well, okay, fine, except that this was 1991. Here, I just aged myself again. In 1991, there wasn't really any. I mean, I don't know that they were doing LASIK at that point.
Oh God! And
I mean, if they were, it was certainly very early.
Want to get it if they were.
I did end up getting LASIK eventually, but that was in 1999.
But at that time, there's some guy with a laser pointer going, no, hold still.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that many years later. It was 8 years later. I got it in San Francisco at the university. So that's another story I should tell at some point. But so I got it. So I had to get glasses, and the military at that point would not let you fly. You couldn't be a pilot with corrected vision.
Right. Yeah.
And that was it.
Like hypersonic speeds, and your glasses are going to get squished in your head, or your contacts are going to fly out.
Now I think it's different. Now I think you can have laser correction done.
Yeah, surely that. I mean, because once you have that, then you are 20/20 at that point, and it's
Yep.
What's the difference?
So that ended that
to make you 20/20. That's bad.
And then I went back. I think for a few other throughout over the course of several years, I went back for a few other lessons here and there, but I didn't. My heart wasn't in it anymore. Yeah, it was sad. And now I won't go back and do it because
strapped in a Hornet and riding fire.
I know.
After that, it's just Cessna just doesn't do it for you anymore.
Well, right.
Yeah.
It's like, that's. I mean, I like flying, but I don't need to be the person flying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like flying. Yeah.
Just like I like boating. I like going out on a boat. I don't want to ever own a boat.
I don't think that I would own a boat even if I had. I mean, I love boats. I love them to death. I love being on them. I love being on big ones. I love being on small ones. I love boats. But just every horror story I've ever heard, and maybe it's not all that bad, but
Florida,
it's just that I've heard enough.
In Florida, you hear quite a few horror stories.
Man, I don't want a boat.
Nope.
If I was a millionaire, I wouldn't want a boat.
No. Well, just like I'm sure I'd love to go to space one day, but I don't need to be an astronaut.
See, now that's one that I would go up tomorrow if they would let me go.
Well, I will too, but on something that's been well tested and demonstrated to work with a lot of other people doing it before me. Don't just strap me to the newest rocket and hope for the best. No.
Well, I'm going to be okay with whatever testing they did to get to that point that they're ready to strap a person onto it.
Yeah, but you've seen that things don't no.
Yeah, but how many times does it work?
I realize that.
Way more than it doesn't.
I'm with you. I'm with you. What I just like to see is if it happened a few more times before.
It's one or two.
So you
more.
you can send my friend Marcus up.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how it is.
And then I'll go maybe a few times after that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like,
yeah, it's awesome up here. Check it out.
It's great. Yeah. You can see all the areas of the world you haven't been to.
Yeah, look at that.
See how much we really don't know. You thought you knew how big we were before? You have no
idea.
Right, and I'll be like, I can't handle that kind of knowledge.
The only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing. Socrates said that.